questions, how about? You want to know what his name is? Terrence Lynch, age 34. Occupation fireman.
Don't yell at me. We can
Father
sit down and
deceased,
talk
he
about
blew
it.
his brains out. Mother deceased, she drank herself to death. Education, high school, 1 year college. Nature of injury, his body is completely busted up. What about nature of accident? Well, he tried to do his job. Any more questions?
Timothy Hutton is an angry New York folk hero, and Turk 182 is one of the new movies we're going to be reviewing this week. I'm Roger Ebert, film critic of the Chicago Sun-Times.
And I'm Gene Siskel, film critic of the Chicago Tribune. In addition to Turk 182, we'll also be reviewing Blood Simple, a highly touted, very violent new film from a first-time director. We'll also be reviewing Mischief, a teenage comedy about a tough kid and an innocent kid. But first, Roger begins with a film with a strange title, Vision Quest.
The title of the movie, Vision Quest, comes from an Indian notion of a young man going off alone in a quest for his personal vision. In this movie, though, instead of going off into the desert or up onto the top of a mountain, the movie's hero goes in quest of a couple of goals closer to home: sex with the slightly older woman that he loves, and a victory over the meanest and most ferocious wrestler in the state of Washington. Here's a scene with a woman, a 21-year-old loner who is fiercely independent but has drifted into his life.
How about some instant coffee, huh?
Yeah, man, make it strong.
Oh, hi.
Hi.
Where's Pop?
I think he's asleep.
Yeah, I thought maybe you were sleeping, because, like, you were sleeping when I went to work.
Yeah, I was beat. Mind if I take one of these?
Oh. Oh, Carla? This here's Cooch.
Hi, how you doing?
Coos is like my white name. My Indian name's Swift Out. Half Indian on my mother's side.
Good night, guys.
Night.
You mean, man. Now I know how you're losing that weight.
We're gonna make some coffee if you'd like to stay up and have some with us.
No, thanks. It'll keep me up. Can I have a spoon? Thanks. Night.
Who's that girl?
In addition to that woman, he has one other obsession in his life. He wants to win the state wrestling title.
Piss. The smell in there isn't even human. You okay?
Yeah, why?
I heard you fainted.
Oh, I had kind of a temporary nitrogen imbalance, kind of a sodium depletion syndrome, and maybe some general lightheadedness. It's maybe one or two other things.
Where you live or what?
I'm just trying to cut weight, you know? Trying to get down to 168.
I don't get it. Why do you want to get smaller and wrestle a small guy? Want to get bigger and wrestle a big guy?
Big guys aren't better. 168 happens to be the toughest division in the state.
Well, I don't want to see you starve yourself. I mean, you are kind of like a stepbrother or something.
What do you mean stepbrother?
What would you call it?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a stepbrother. I mean, I don't even know how a stepbrother's supposed to feel.
Just take care of yourself, okay?
I want to see you in my office.
All right. I do take care of myself.
I'll see you later. Home.
She has moved into the house of Matthew Modine, the actor there, and his father is kind of a boarder, a kind of a child taken in from the storm, and that's their first kiss. It's very interesting because she's been very aloof. That was Matthew Modine as the hero of Vision Quest. He's a gifted young actor who was also recently in Birdie and Mrs. Soulful, and that was Linda Fiorentino as the independent young woman that he's in love with. She's very good, too. The story of Vision Quest is sort of predictable, since we've already seen Rocky and the Karate Kid and dozens of other movies with the same formula. We know this movie is going to end with a climactic struggle against the awesome opponent. His name is Shoot, and the kids in the high school bleachers keep saying, "Shoot, shoot." But all the same, this time the formula works again, and the formula basically works because the movie works. It has a lot of colorful characters, including short order cooks and wrestling coaches, and Matthew Modine's best friend, who was that teenage Indian guru with the mohawk haircut that we saw. And the movie has a lot of energy and style. I liked it.
I liked it too, and I have to credit the dialogue. The script was adapted from a very successful book by Daryl Ponnickson, who wrote one of my favorite films, The Last Detail, and he's done it again. This is, the kid talks there. You could hear him talk in lingo that seems like a very bright kid would talk like. The woman is gutsy, and her you know, why not wrestle bigger? Why not? It's good writing, and it's so fresh, and that enlivens the formula, and it was good writing, I think, that helped make the Rocky series, with all the wonderful things that Sylvester Stallone put in his first script.
You're right, and there's another way that you can compare them, and that is the attention to the character parts. In other words, the father, the short order cook, and so forth. These are not simply plug-in units of the plot where the father comes in and does what he has to do so the scene will happen.
Right.
He's a person.
Yeah.
He's got a dimension to him. All the people in this movie do. So it's a lot better than the formula sometimes supplies as well.
I just wish, I know it has to have a certain kind of ending, I wish they'd have the guts to shoot for something a little different. That would really kick the movie into the stratosphere, but still very good. Next at the movies, Tim Hutton takes on New York City in Turk 182.
My brother, he's a fireman, and he got hurt in a fire. And he can't work anymore. And the city won't help him out. Nobody will listen.
Our next film, Turk 182, is embarrassingly bad. A laughably improbable story of a young man whose firefighter brother is wronged by the city of New York, so he goes on a rampage to embarrass the mayor of New York, and we're supposed to root for him. Well, this film is so stupid, I ended up rooting for the mayor. Timothy Hutton, normally a serious young actor with good taste in movies, plays the put-upon young man who has seen his brother rescue a little girl in a fire and get injured. But when Hutton files for a claim for hospital damages for his brother, the city finds out that his brother's been drinking before he saved the kid. That's against fire department regulations, so they won't pay him a cent. And that leads to Timothy Hutton confronting no less than the mayor of New York at an impromptu press conference.
Mr. Mayor, somebody's life is at stake here.
Yeah. All right, son, let's have it. What's it about?
My brother, he's a fireman, and he got hurt in a fire. And he can't work anymore. And the city won't help him out. Nobody will listen.
Wait a minute, let me get this straight now. You're telling me that they are ignoring the rights of a fireman of this city who was injured in the line of duty? That's not possible.
No, that's what happened. Yeah. I mean, he was off duty. You know, we were at Hooley's. He was drinking when the kid came in and said there was...
Drinking? Wait a minute. Drinking?
I mean, the whole building was on fire, and Terry's the only one that was around who came in and...
You come waltzing in here with a sob story about a drunk?
Wait a minute, he ain't no drunk. My brother is not a drunk.
You go home, and you take a shower, and you comb your hair, and you think about it. Let him go.
Now, no mayor is going to act like that much of a jerk. I mean, it's just totally improbable, that scene. So right away, we don't believe this movie, but that's the premise that starts Timothy Hutton playing pranks on the mayor, interrupting his every public function by writing his brother's nickname and firefighter's badge number, Turk, that's his nickname, 182, that's his brother's badge number, on subway cars and even on the Queensboro Bridge.
Without any further falderall, I would like to say happy birthday to this great lady. The 59th Street Bridge, God bless her.
Do it. What the hell's going on up there?
Wait a minute. Jesus Christ, there's somebody up there.
What? He says there's someone up there, up on the sign.
It's him.
Oh, my God. It's Turk.
Tom, Jimmy Lynch is 250 feet in the air. Clearly, he is fashioning the most... They're somewhat hampered in their attempts to reach Lynch because apparently Jimmy Lynch has greased all of the lower girders.
Oh, sure, he's had plenty of time to grease all of the girders because they've only been guarding the place all day long. It's late in the movie. They know what's going to happen. And he's going to walk in with all these vats of grease.
Not to mention his entire steeplejacks uniform that he managed to attach unobtrusively to the top of the bridge.
That's a preposterous scene, one of many in this film. And if you see this picture, you're going to spot an obvious gaping flaw in this film because for at least 3/4 of the movie, no one in the city of New York, this is the guts of the movie, no one can figure out who this mysterious guy is that's writing Turk 182 on subway cars and all that. No one knows who it is. Not even, and here's the flaw, Timothy Hutton's own brother, who's in the hospital, his nickname is Turk, and his badge number on his firefighter's helmet is 182. He wasn't injured that badly that he can't remember his nickname. And when I saw that mistake, I was in the theater, I was going to jump up and say, look at what the mistake this movie's making. Let's raid this film. Let's tear the screen apart. I gave up on the script at that moment because it isn't really trying to make sense. This film really infuriated me.
I think you're right, Gene, and I think this movie takes a whole new meaning to the word, the idiot plot. You know, this whole theory we've had about movies that would end instantly if there were anyone in the movie who wasn't an idiot who could say, well, look, it's all obvious, and I've solved it,
It's
and the
going
movie
to
is
end in
over.
1 minute as soon as they realize that once he gets to the mayor of New York, the mayor of New York is going to say, yeah, this guy was wrong. We'll look into it, and here we'll settle the claim.
The mayor wouldn't
it's over.
The mayor wouldn't do what he does in the movie. The guy wouldn't be able to do what he does now. In movies like this, if we can become sympathetic with the character and be carried along with him, that can be a lot of fun. But nothing infuriates me more than a movie that wants my sympathy while insulting my intelligence.
Yeah, well, this does constantly, and I'm telling you, this film is going to be on my worst 10 of the year, no matter what happens, and it's going to be real high up.
Engrave it right
Turk
there
182. I'm going to write it in
on the arm of your chair.
I'll never forget it.
Next, the movies. One murder leads to another in Blood Simple.
Could you tell me what it is you want me to do, or is it a secret? You want me to kill him?
Our next movie is named Blood Simple, and this is one of those diabolical and insidious murder thrillers where just when you think you've had enough, the whole plot takes another bloody turn. You find out you didn't know anything really for sure after all. This is another example of the bruised forearm movie where you're always going like this to the person next to you. The movie is depraved and violent and dripping with gore, but it's put together with perfect logic and split-second timing and very good acting so that you admire the artistry of the film even while you're hiding your eyes with your hands from some of the scenes. Blood Simple begins simply enough with a sleazy saloon owner who wants to hire an even sleazier private detective to commit a murder for hire.
I got a job for you.
Well, if it pays right and it's legal, I'll do it.
It's not strictly legal.
Well, pays right, I'll do it.
It's in reference to that gentleman and my wife. The more I think about it, the more irritated I get.
Huh? Could you tell me what it is you want me to do, or is it a secret?
It's no joke.
You want me to kill him?
You might recognize the veteran character actor Emmett Walsh there behind the wheel.
Terrific.
There. Now, I don't want to give away too much of the plot of Blood Simple, but I don't know how I could because this plot is so complicated and has so many surprises and double reverses in it that there's no way I really could give it away. So let me just explain a little bit to set up the next scene. That sleazy saloon owner is found dying by his wife's boyfriend. Now, the boyfriend thinks that she did it, so he finishes the job, and then he tells her, but she doesn't know what he's talking about.
It's important. It's what we do now. We can't go around half-cocked. What we need is time to think about this. Figure it out. Anyway, we got some time now. We got to be smart.
Ray.
Abby, you should never point a gun at anyone unless you mean to shoot him. If you shoot him, you better make sure he's dead. Because if he ain't dead, he's going to get up and try and kill you. The only thing they taught us in the service is worth a goddamn. Where the hell's my windbreaker?
Yeah, where is his windbreaker? And early in the movie, somebody loses a cigarette lighter. It's that great feeling.
That's an exciting moment.
Yes, it is. I've done everything right except for one fatal thing. Blood Simple is one of those movies like Hitchcock's The Trouble with Harry, the one where the dead body kept popping up and just wouldn't stay buried, no matter how many times they tried to bury it. This is a movie that runs the risk of being very offensive, but it pulls off the difficult trick of being so clever and so wicked and so ingenious in the way that it manipulates its plot and manipulates us and manipulates its dead bodies that we can't help but go along with the whole roller coaster ride. And it's funny because there are times when you're really repelled by what's happening, other times when it turns into sort of a black humor.
I bought this whole film, and I am so impressed when a film can have outrageous things happening in it and extreme violence, which I have a short fuse on generally, and I am absolutely compelled. And I think it's because of the visual style of the film and the arresting images, so that actually we are totally entranced by this picture, and our whole concentration is up on the screen. I didn't laugh that much. I bought the whole thing. There are things that I'll always remember. Shots of that windbreaker with blood on it, dust creeping underneath it of a door, rows of in a field, plowed field.
How about that scene where he's
night.
trying to break down the wall? That was an amazing scene.
This is just, it's a film debut by a young director out of New York Film School. It is very, very impressive.
Well, now, when I said I was laughing, I don't think I was laughing because I thought it was a comedy. Sometimes you laugh out of surprise or out of astonishment.
Or relief.
Or relief. Or in this case, out of the neatness of the way they trick you or the way that they bring surprises on you. If it weren't for the logic of this film, from beginning to end, you wouldn't be able to accept these preposterous events that follow
also,
one after the other.
I was told this is going to be a very violent film, and it is at the end, not at the beginning. And so I'm sitting there watching, and for a long time it isn't so violent. So even if you have a short fuse on violence, and I think I have one, this is a very, very well-made, impressive picture.
Okay. Coming up next at the movies, the unlikely friendship between a tough guy and a wimp at high school.
Hi, Marilyn. Would you like to go to the movies with me Saturday night? Oh, Mrs. McCauley. Would you like to go to the movies?
Our next film is Mischief, yet another teenage comedy. And boy, they do start to blend together in the mind after a while. A day after seeing this picture, I honestly couldn't remember what it was about. But having done some research since then, I can report that Mischief is about the friendship between two high school kids, a tough new kid in town, a shy young man. That's the constant combination in these pictures. The kid, the shy one, is still a virgin. And here's how the tough kid coaches his innocent friend on meeting girls.
All right, rule number one, make eye contact every chance you get.
What do I do when she stares back?
Keep staring. Lower your eyes a little bit. Gives you a smoldering type of look.
It does?
Yeah, you know, like James Dean in East of Eden.
Oh, you mean like this?
This is not gonna work.
I can practice, really.
Where'd you get those jeans?
My mom got them.
Shrink them.
Why?
Whoa, here comes Marilyn. Come here. Don't stand there looking like a stand up against the wall. Lift your right up.
I'm sorry, Zane.
You okay, Jonathan?
Just a cramp.
This is gonna be tougher than I thought.
Drop the coin right into the slot.
Now, I don't know why they have to make him fall down in that scene. It's totally unnecessary. If they're going to try and approximate, this is a 50s film, they're going to try and approximate kind of a realistic feel, why go for the broad comedy? Why not have him just be embarrassed and have that show on his face? Let it make a movie. Don't make a cartoon. It's standard stuff in these kinds of pictures, and beyond that, I can't think of much to say about this film because it doesn't have really any energy that I can work off of. Actually, the soundtrack there, Chuck Berry, is a little bit more interesting than anything in the picture. It's a very bland, boring, predictable piece, no imagination. There is nothing in this film that hasn't been done before, many, many times before, and what a labor it is to sit through a picture like Mischief. That's the only time, I think, when our job becomes like real work, seeing pictures like Mischief. No energy. In some ways, a really rotten film like Turk 182 is easier to sit through.
You know, you're right. The movie has kind of a terminal sweetness to it. I mean, everything is so safe. It's within such a predictable emotional range, and the characters are made out of other movie characters. They're not even made out of the originals. The greaser there is not made out of James Dean. He's made out of
Happy
pale,
Days, maybe.
Happy Days imitations of James Dean and so forth. And it's just like identikit. Plug in the nice character, plug in the parents, plug in the girl, plug in the cars. The Chevy, red and white Chevy convertible in this movie was probably the high point of the film.
Oh, you like that car?
As far as I'm concerned. So let's take another look at our reactions to the movies on this show. 2 thumbs up for Vision Quest with Matthew Modine's fine performance as a young wrestler testing himself. But we both vote thumbs down on Turk 182, an infuriating idiot plot starring Timothy Hutton, who is usually in better movies. And 2 thumbs up for Joel Coen's Blood Simple, the diabolical, ingenious, and bloody new thriller. And another agreement, 2 thumbs down on Mischief, the sweet but predictable story of teenagers in the 1950s.
You know, I credited on Vision Quest Daryl Ponnickson, who wrote the script, but I should mention the guy who wrote the novel, Terry Davis, and starred in it all. I'm sure he's responsible for a lot of the good dialogue in that film, too.
Okay, so Vision Quest and Blood Simple, which
Yeah.
I think is going to become a little bit of a cause célèbre around the country as some people cheer it and other people run out of the theater.
Oh, I don't know that they will. I ran out of the theater, at least in my mind, on Brian De Palma's body double with the big drill.
Yeah.
This film is more bloody than that, and yet it's in control. I don't want to start a debate
with you. Well, it's a real good film anyway.
Yeah.
We're agreed on that. And that's it for this week. Next week, we'll look at Maria's Lover, starring Nastasia Kinski, and also Woody Allen's latest film, The Purple Rose of Cairo, starring Mia Farrow and Jeff Daniels from Terms of Endearment. That's next time, and until then, we'll see you at the movies.
Pan American, whether it's business or pleasure or a little bit of both. Across the country and around the world, Pan Am, you can't beat the experience. America's favorite movie candies are coming home. Now enjoy Raisinets, Goobers, and Snowcaps at home and at the movies. Star attractions for your movie time pleasure. Liquid Lemon Pledge for a clearly more beautiful, natural shine. Liquid Lemon Pledge in the Easy Pump Spray for all your wood furniture.